This just in, some sad news. The Pentagon just released the identities of 4 of the 6 U.S. service members who have been killed in this war. This specifically happened during an Iranian drone strike Sunday in Kuwait. The soldiers are 35-year-old Captain Cody Khork, 42-year-old Sergeant First Class Noah Tietjens, 39-year-old Sergeant First Class Nicole Amor, and 20-year-old Sergeant Declan Cody. All 4 were assigned to the 103rd Command. It's an Army Reserve Sustainment Unit out of Iowa. We'll bring you more about the casualties when we get more details about them and their photographs. May their memories be a blessing. Our deepest condolences to their friends and family.
But let's move on now, and someone else who has now broken their silence after staying out of the media really for the last couple of days is Vance, Vice President of the United States. Here he was saying that Trump has a clear objective and this will not be a very long war.
There's just no way that Donald Trump is going to allow this country to get into a multi-year conflict with no clear end in sight and no clear objective. What is different about President Trump, and it's frankly different about both Republicans and Democrats of the past, is that he's not going to let his country go to war unless there's a clearly defined objective. He's defined that objective as Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon and has to commit long-term to never trying to rebuild their nuclear capability.
So why is this in the US's interest to go to war with Iran? Well, because they were clearly trying to develop nuclear weapons. Here was Witkoff saying much the same thing.
In that first meeting, both the Iranian negotiators said to us directly, with no shame, that they controlled 460 kilograms of 60%, and they're aware that that could make 11 nuclear bombs, and that was the beginning of their negotiating stance. So they were proud of it. They were proud that they had evaded all sorts of oversight protocols to get to a place where they could deliver 11 nuclear bombs.
And that's the thing. Iran has never been coy about their objectives. They've essentially been trying to wage war against the United States in one way or another for the last 47 years, since the Iranian Revolution in 1979. So I don't know, you've seen elements of the MAGA base get angry, say this is Iraq 2.0. It's just not. This is very targeted, very surgical, and thus far has been very successful.
The other interesting thing about the way Donald Trump conducts himself is he likes to keep everybody guessing, which is a tactic, and a very good one, because if your enemies don't know what you're going to do, then they have to prepare for every eventuality, always fearing that you may just go a little crazy. Even boots on the ground, which is, I would have thought for the MAGA base, a big no-no, and Trump's always said that will not happen. But just today, he slightly changed his language, saying, well, we don't rule anything out. Marco Rubio said much the same thing. I got to emphasise they were not suggesting there'd be boots on the ground. They just weren't quite so adamant that there will never be boots on the ground. And I think Trump, he's done this with Russia. He's done this with North Korea. Now he's doing it with the Iranians. He keeps options open, so they're not exactly sure which way he will go. It's the only way I would suggest to treat your enemies, but it frustrates those who demand that Trump let everybody know up front exactly what he's going to do.
Yeah, and that's sort of always been the Trump way, right?
Yeah.
The element of unpredictability is his great advantage, and people sort of begrudgingly respect him for that, because they're like, this guy is crackers enough that he could sort of do anything at a moment's notice, so we kind of got to be careful here. And that in large part is why he has participated in this with Israel, because sure, Israel can perform its own attacks on Iran, but when you've got the might of the US behind you, you're sending a real message about how serious you are about this, right? And so Trump's just sent the note out and said, well, you want to play games? Let's play games. I'm up for playing games. Let's see how this goes. Yeah. Because the reality is, as we've talked about all week, you know, Iran is isolated not only in the world but in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And so at some point, it has to come to the table. They can say, oh, you know, we're not going to negotiate. Well, if you're not going to negotiate, you're just going to be wiped off the map. So at some point, something has to give, and that is what Trump is playing for, and I hope, as they say, it will all be done within 4 weeks. I think the original plan was that they would sort of wipe out the military heads within a space of 4 weeks from what Trump was saying overnight, and in his words, we're a little bit ahead of schedule. So it does leave a lot more time for getting other things done.